the meeting today, and so the first job will be for members to nominate a member of the committee to act as chair. Has anyone got a nomination that they would like to make?
Yes, please.
Councillor Ashley?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Steve Evans for chair, please.
And have we got someone to second that?
Yes, Chair, Councillor Jones.
And can we have a quick vote? Everybody agreed? Yeah. Okay. Councillor Evans, you're...
Thank you, everybody. Unfortunately, the chair's not well. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to this hybrid meeting of the Planning Committee. This planning meeting is being broadcast live over the internet and will be able to view online now and in the future. We welcome the use of the Welsh language at meetings. I've had no requests for people to speak Welsh today. So this meeting will be conducted in English only. Those attending in the chamber, please be aware that we're all on camera and you may be visible on screen when people around you are speaking, and please remember to speak clearly in your microphones. Committee members participating remotely, can you please refrain from using the chat function and instead use the raised hand icon to indicate when you want to speak. Please remember to keep your microphone muted when you are not talking. May I remind members that the statutory guidance made under Section 4 of the Local Government Wales Measure 2011 and our formally adopted hybrid meeting policy, any member attending a meeting remotely must be able to be seen and heard by the members and officers who are attending the meeting, as well as by members of the public viewing the meeting. So can I ask that you all please use your cameras for the duration of the meeting? Thank you for that. Right, now moving on to the agenda. Agenda item 1. Have we got any apologies, Rachel? Please.
Yes, thank you. I've received apologies from Councillor Norma Parish, Carl Gordon and Chris Tew.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Agenda item 2, declaration of interest. Niall, could you ask members in alphabetical order to state whether they have any interest to declare?
Yes, of course, Chair. So if we can start then with Councillor Ashley.
Sorry, I'm a bit disorganised. My computer decided to update itself and getting onto this meeting. Okay. Yes, I'm a member of Cumbrae Community Council, so it's a personal.
Okay. And yourself, Chair?
No, nothing I'm aware of.
Okay. Councillor Haller?
Nothing from me.
Councillor Gaynor James?
Nothing from me.
Councillor John James?
Nothing from me.
Councillor Janet Jones?
Nothing from me, no.
Councillor Mark Jones?
Nothing from me.
And Councillor Slade?
Nothing to declare, no.
Okay, thank you everybody for that. We'll now move on to agenda item 3. It's a minute to the Planning Committee from the 30th of October 2024. Members, could you possibly state whether you have anything to raise in relation to the minutes? If not, I would take them as approved. Has anybody got any issues? Councillor? Are we all in agreement with that? Yeah. That's great, thank you. We now move on to our agenda item 4, which is the planning application 22/P/0075/FUL, and there is a retention of change of use of the social club upper floor to 8-bedroom temporary residential accommodation under the Housing Wales Act 2014, and it's at 5 to 7 Commercial Street, Old Cumbrae, Cumbrae. So now, if I can ask Mia McAndrew, Senior Planner, to present the report, please.
Thank you. So, yeah, this application relates to a corner property in Old Cumbrae Commercial Street. It's a social club at the moment, but it is vacant. and the proposal is to retain accommodation on the upper floor, which has been operating, and it's temporary accommodation for homeless people. So here you can see the site in a bit more context. So you can see it's on the corner of Clemondi Road and Commercial Street. It's in the neighbourhood centre in Old Cwmbran, so it's in a row with a charity shop and hairdressers and a pharmacy, etc. And there's the church opposite, and there's the Mount Pleasant Inn down by here. And you can see it in its wider context here as well. So there's a doctor's surgery over here, and more shops and other local businesses in Old Cwmbran over the bridge, and also Cwmbran Town Centre to the northeast as well. And there's also, I should point out, there's public car parking in the area here, and also over by the doctor's surgery. Here's the building. It's the two elevations that are visible from the street. Here's the front, and here's the side. And here are the drawings of it. So these are the existing elevation drawings. And here are the proposed. So the external works are really minor. It's literally just adding a new doorway in by here. So it's replacing, it's like a sort of blocked up window, and they'd be putting a doorway in there. So here's the existing ground floor plan, which is the social club, which is vacant at the moment. And here's the proposed ground floor plan. So the only changes is just making use of these, this existing access to access the upper floor, and they've separated it from the social club and also given a laundry room by here. And then the new access then on the side provides access to the upstairs as well. And here's the existing first floor plan, so you can see that it's already been in operation, and there's bedrooms and then a smaller shared kitchen here, and it's 10 bedrooms. So this would reduce to 8 bedrooms, and they've enlarged the kitchen dining area, so there's more of a shared space outside the rooms. So the recommendation is that consent is granted subject to conditions. It's considered that the proposal would provide much needed accommodation in a sustainable location, and it complies with all relevant planning policies and guidance. On the committee report that was sent out, there was a condition 3 that required the submission of bin storage details, but we've been advised that the applicant is a licensed waste disposal company, and that they visit the property daily to dispose of this waste. So to make sure that that continues and that it's managed effectively, we recommend to change this condition to a waste management plan to be submitted and approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia, for that report. Has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask any of the officers? Councillor Ashley?
Yeah, couple of things really. One is I noticed the report goes on about the effects of the area, because obviously there's intention, from what I can see, to keep it as retail premises below. If you've looked at that rank of shops there, it's quite a unique looking row of shops and buildings. It's all in the same stone, and it's from the same period, even when it was a club, which I believe it was, football club, and I believe British Legion down there. The building from one down to the other end of it is rather integral looking building. I suspect it's built by the same people. I've looked at that row of shops quite a few times when I come up there for various reasons. It's also next door to its cycle track. So regards the other question about car parking, that there's an extremely good bus route actually there. There's competing bus services. So I'm wondering whether we need to beat ourselves up too much about having car parking there, when a lot of people would rather wisely use the extremely good bus service into town. And don't mention that on here. And then the other part is, knowing the ecology as I do around there, the bat surveys, I think the ecologist seems like he's looked at it. I'm wondering what there is there, because having gone past there, there's quite a bit of ecology floating around. There's nothing in the building. It's a huge building, and I would doubt very much whether there's any trees or anything. But bats is the one thing that would worry me about it. Would the office comment on that, please, if possible? That's 3 points I got there, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the first point was about the visual impact.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, I could use that.
Okay. And then given that it's the only real external change is just that new doorway on the side elevation, and I don't think it's out of context. It's quite a small change, and it's around the side as well, rather than in that row of the shops that you mentioned. So I think that's acceptable. And then the second point was about like public transport and parking. Yeah, certainly it's in a sustainable location, so I agree. There's really good public transport, and it's good walking distance to daily facilities, and cycling as well, as you said. So the parking is nearby. It's not really necessary, but if there were visitors or anyone who needed to use it, then it's there for them. And then thirdly, about the BAT report, there was a BAT report submitted. I'd have to go through it to double check all the details, but the ecology officer has reviewed it and is happy that there's no impact on bats. And yeah, does that answer all your questions?
Are you all right with that, Councillor Ashley? Yes.
Sorry. Yes, I am. I mean, the thing about Old Cwmbran, which we don't, it's not the first time I've had a conversation about Old Cwmbran. It's actually quite, not unique, but it's one of the, it's got buildings all the same period, and obviously as a planning committee, we wouldn't want to differ. We've had conversations about other bits of Old Cwmbran. No, this seems relatively sympathetic as long as that facade stays the same. I think that's brilliant. As far as accessible public transport and walking, well, you can walk into town in there in 5 minutes. You're in major supermarkets and the rest of it, plus the fact there's a good village core there as well. No, I think for the type of accommodation that we're looking at, it's quite a good place for that. What was the other one? Parking. What was the other one, Chair? I'm trying to think what on the end now. It doesn't really matter. Thank you very much indeed. I think you answered that one beautifully.
Thank you, Councillor Ashley. Before I call you in, Janet, Councillor James wants to come in.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just want to say this is desperately needed accommodation. I don't see any problem at all with this application, and just hope it gets approved.
Thank you for that. Councillor Janet Jones. Right.
Thank you, Councillor. Thanks, Chair. It says temporary accommodation. Is there a limit to how long these people can stay? Because we had similar issues at a venue in Glenavon, and I know conditions were put in that there was a sort of 30 days maximum for staying there. Is that the type of property that this is going to accommodate in Cwmbran, please? And also, have we addressed the concerns made by the ward councillors, Councillor Hayes and Councillor Benera?
Thank you. Yeah, so I've queried this with the housing team just to get a bit more information and advice. So it's all controlled by them and their legislation with the Housing Wales Act and their guidance. And they've advised that usually people could stay there between sort of either 4 to 5 months for families or 6 to 8 months for single persons, but it varies case by case as far as I understand. In terms of the concerns raised by the local councillors, they've raised concerns about antisocial behaviour. The housing team have advised me that the property is really well managed, and there's 24-hour security there, off-site, so I believe security cameras. They've got a manager who visits daily, and they send a report to the housing officer daily as well, so if there's any concerns raised, they address them swiftly. And that also that any complaints they have received for antisocial behaviour, when they've looked into it, it's not been the tenants. So it seems to be really managed effectively, and the housing team are happy with it.
That's great. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Janet, for that. Councillor Alan Slade, got a question?
Yes, I think it's worth reflecting on the fact that this is a retrospective application, and local members have raised, and quite rightly raised, with concerns about antisocial behaviour, littering. The mitigation measures are clearly not working. So although the housing team may say, oh yes, this is all sorted, we've got CCTV, that is simply not working, because these are not, what we're seeing with these representations, they're observations of the property as it is. And it's been used for quite a while. So there are observations about people sitting in their pyjamas opposite on a park bench, on a bench, you know, smoking and drinking at sort of 8 o'clock in the morning, are quite true, because I've seen it myself. I'm not reassured, to be honest, and I would have been perhaps a bit more reassured if we'd spoken to the police or our community safety team. I mean, the police are a sort of non-statutory consultee, and given the concerns raised by the locals, I'm quite shocked, really, that they haven't been consulted, because they'd be best placed to sort of reflect on exactly what's happened since it's opened. So I won't be supporting this at all. I think it's a great development. I think we need temporary housing, but I'm concerned that it's not in the correct place. I think it's harmful to the local community, to be honest.
Thank you for that, Councillor Slade. Anybody want to answer that? No. Polly, no? Yeah. No, excuse me, Alan, but there's nothing I can comment on that, because really, excuse me, the police need to be notified that some of the, the people are sitting in them benches, and we've had nothing through on the planning application from the police regarding it.
Yeah, but my point is, there's no evidence that they've even been consulted, because presumably if they had and offered no comment, that would be reflected in the report, which it hasn't been.
Yeah. Well, the officers can't reply on that because they're only dealing on with the planning application side of it.
Yeah, but it's a key consideration, the planning consideration, public safety. That is a key planning consideration.
Give you a response now, Alan.
Hi, yeah, sorry, we just took that as a comment rather than a question, but I'm happy to clarify. No, we haven't consulted the police. It is noted that there's concerns about antisocial behaviour, and the housing team advised that when those instances have been looked into, it's not been the tenants. It is a material consideration, which we've given weight to, but it's considered that overall the benefits of the scheme outweigh this potential impact. If there are any instances, then you can report it to the housing team and also to the police as well, and they can investigate it. But it's considered that in this instance that the property is managed effectively and the proposal is acceptable on balance.
Perhaps it would be helpful if, perhaps my last comment, don't need a response. Perhaps it would be helpful if the whoever's responsible for monitoring it made their phone numbers available to local members, because this is the first I've heard of that, to be honest.
That be arranged. Yeah, that can be arranged. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Alan. It's a valid point. Councillor Ashley.
I don't want to raid into any controversy about antisocial behaviour, but one of the beauties of this particular development is, unlike other developments that some of us have had, it's not in the middle of their own residential areas. And I believe they said there's another property like this around there. That it has the beauty of not, as said, not being particularly near residential properties. So, is it part of the conditions, or can it be part of the conditions that what's suggested that we do monitor any behaviour, that should get us out of that, or is a part of ongoing monitoring? Because as it stands alone, the any form of behaviour of temporary accommodation should be evident, because it's not sat within anywhere. I would hesitate to say that, I would suggest to say that in itself gives it quite a lot of, you know, like most developments of this kind, you can actually see when it's happening. So I'm not sure whether as a planning committee we can suggest that, or you know, to the housing department that they keep an eye on it. That's what I'm suggesting. Does that make sense what I'm saying there?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Ashley. I don't think it meets the test for a condition on the planning application. There's other legislation that can control the antisocial behaviour, but I think Councillor Slade's comments with regards passing on members' details perhaps to the housing team is a helpful comment, and we'll do that outside the planning application process. So if there's any concerns, that we've got a contact in the housing team for ward members.
I was thinking whilst sitting as I do on another body where we get reported on it does seem to be very low incidents of antisocial behaviour around there.
Are you agree with that now, Councillor Ashley?
Yes, I'd be supporting this application because, as Gaynor said, we have very little as accommodation. We're desperate for it. So I'd like to propose it if nobody else is going.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
So you propose it and Councillor James has seconded it?
Yes.
So, Niall, ask all members in alphabetical order to state whether they are for, against or abstaining, please.
Of course, Chair. So let's start with Councillor Ashley, please.
For.
Yourself, Chair.
For.
Councillor Haller.
For.
Councillor Gaynor James.
For.
Councillor John James.
For.
Councillor Janet Jones.
For with conditions.
Councillor Mark Jones.
For with conditions.
And Councillor Slade.
Against.
Okay, so that is... Yes, so that's 7 for and 1 against, Chair.
Thank you very much. That's been passed. If I can thank everyone for your attendance and your contributions this cold morning, and I will now close the meeting. And thank you very much for your attendance.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.